Hello and welcome to the next episode of this series, which is all about Legroom and of course my life. Now, this section of the theme park in today's upload is all about the Winter Village. Yes, that might be a little bit random when it is now scorching hot outside, but yesterday was the day that the LEGO Group announced a brand new LEGO City train, which is under the Arctic Explorer banner. Now, I have got loads and loads of those sets in hibernation, and I really like the look of the train. So, is there a possibility that we can carry on with the train track wrapping around the outside of the blue wall? Can we go double deep on the train track? Or is there a few of the little bits and pieces that we can have a tinker with? So the Winter Village itself isn't going to change. It's just the bits that I can't reach. So with that being said, let's get to it. So there is a few options that we can do, but I have absolutely no idea what's going to look the best and what is going to be easiest either. Now, the other thing is, obviously, like I said, the set got announced yesterday, but by the time this video actually goes live, it will already be out. So it's going to be one of those that I can actually use your comments to see what the best place is to put it before I actually then buy it. So that's going to be very, very handy and very, very helpful. Now, I have got a load more of these clear, basically glass windows, which happens to be the perfect width of the train track. That is what we've used at the back just there. It doesn't take up much space whatsoever, and I think it looks effective enough. Now, I can just carry them on against the blue, and then potentially we could try and put a curve round. There is a switch track here somewhere, but I don't know if that is the correct bit of switch track. What is going to happen is I can see this spiraling. There was ideas with the Jurassic Park display where it started off with a small track, and then out of nowhere it's now expanded across 4 different tables. We've now got a clear merge between 2 lands, and then the train track just happens to go perfectly in front of our Marvel Street, wrapping around the Harry Potter section. And obviously now we are in the process of getting all these little bits and pieces tiled, and this video is actually following on from when this got installed, and I am just going to leave it there for sort of a week or 2 and just see what I think with it before it gets repaired. If not, it just goes back into storage. I think with the base, there is quite a few different bits and pieces that we'll be able to do. It just depends if this looks stupid. Some of you might think it is, some of you might not think it is. So let me know, and I can figure that bit out. But like I said, today is about this. But what this has the potential to snowball into is quite a lot, because I have got enough old track, so that's this stuff here, to do a full loop as it is on a table. And of course, the train will come with a full connecting loop. Now, if it spirals out of control and becomes a full-blown loop, that means it will be its own full-blown land. Now, I have got, like I said, a fair few of the Polar Explorer sets. I really do like them. I like the bright orange, the bright blue, and I've got some stuff that flies. I've got all the polar bears and all of that kind of thing. And it could be a continuation of the Winter Village. It could work quite well here. But the problem is, here, well, that is going to be our brand new Super Mario go-kart track. So there is no way that I can put it there. It could potentially go on the floor underneath. And then the sci-fi area, which is still thinking about, could just get rehomed. We are going to be adding in a space coaster underneath here, going in front of the Disney Castle, which is going to be all part of our Star Wars stuff. So we've got basically lots and lots of different theme park rides going in each section. But it depends if I want to do a Legoland Polar Explorer. Now, the other option we have is it goes in underneath there, and it's just a tribute land to the Legoland. And if it would fit in a Kallax, because that Kallax is double deep, it could potentially go in there, and it could have the Polar Explorer stuff in the middle. Like I said, it could spiral quickly out of control. But now I just want to see if I could just get the train and get the train up at the top on the tracks, because there is quite a lot of stuff that we can do. Now, I have for a while and I mean for a while, gone, I should try and get a train going all the way around the outside. We've got a train that is now fully connected on here. This is just taking you round this sort of land. But do I do a very, very long-term project and try and just get the trains, a train track, all the way around the outside? I have got the old 9-volt that works. The only thing is with it is that it won't work if it's not connected to itself. So I can't have that train going around with, for example, another passenger train from something else. So that we'd have to think about what we could do with that. But I have, like I said, got quite a bit of track. Now I have thought for a while about maybe putting a bracket every so often into the wood on both sides, because it's wood on that side, wood on that side, and then we can just go corner, so we could put a track behind the eyeball and then basically wrap it around, because this looks so effective and it does look very theme park-esque. I am quite tempted to do something very, very stupid, but like I said, that's how much it could spiral, but we will see. Potentially the easiest thing would be just to put a track around the outside of the Winter Village, if it could connect. And then we drop the Winter Village train down, we drop the train station down, and then we just have the Arctic train just going across the back. So that is all for the future. So that's how far I try and plan ahead, but I like to do it in stages and phases just to see if it works. Now the one thing I'm intrigued about is, can we go double deep? So what I mean by double deep is we put 2 bits of track side by side like that. And what I do is obviously I will then tile them together. Now I have got some tiles here, luckily. I can just use these now just to see if this works, and I will need these tiles back. So the plan, potentially, is I would just put a tile there. That isn't a tile, that's embarrassing. And then a couple more on. And then just see if I could get 2 trains side by side up at the top. So there is, God, they won't clip on. There you go. Like that. So that potentially is sturdy enough, because I could try and do something underneath to stop it from breaking. So if I could support it underneath and support it on top, so I just put sort of like a 4 stud, basically those with 4 studs on, and then clipped them in, because it's on the glass groove, it would sit like that. But the actual trains themselves, it shouldn't, look, I'm pushing down really hard on that, it shouldn't split. So this is just the perfect size to be able to potentially go double deep. Now, the easiest place for me to go double depth is just there. However, how it wraps around the train station and everything else, it's gonna get a little bit fiddly and basically I think become a right pain in the ass. But like I said, I have got some of these. Now if we had it on its own separate track, I was thinking of maybe doing a 3-2 to a 1, or 3 to a 2, or something like that, depending on how big these are, because I thought it might look quite nice if I could get almost the shape of the roof and have the train at that angle. Obviously these aren't going to go up to the roof, that would just be stupid, but if I had 2 on top of each other, it would be behind the air balloon, and it's obviously got the snowplow on the front, and it would be quite a steep thing. And the base shouldn't collapse in on itself, because it could just be pinned to the bottom of the wall and then basically go up. So I want to try that first to see if it would visually look all right and if the straight track would work. If not, I want to see if I can actually attempt to clip the double deep in. And then this, like I said, it's just going to be a trial. You guys let me know what you think would look best, and then in the near future, if I do pick up the train, we can have a little bit of fun with it. So this is actually where the fun and games are going to begin, because I do not want to basically move or break anything, because this is my favourite theme. I do love this stuff, and obviously we change this every year. So I only want to change, I don't want to rip it all out and then in a few months' time it all gets ripped out on the 1st of December. But I've got a little bit of a problem, because this block of cheese is obviously massive. Now there is, which I actually, I didn't start well, there is actually track behind this, and there has been for a while, because it had, I forgot all of that was there, it had that thing on it. That thing just there. So really, that does need its own sort of, home. Now, the other thing that I am quite intrigued about with this being double deep is that I do have the opportunity, if I went for it, to have it on a bracket double deep all the way around the outside, and we could just have 2 trains running as a full circuit. Or because it's double deep, we've got plenty of options to switch tracks. So on the straight, you could have a switch track, and then they could just both carry on going, because you could potentially have quite a few trains running around the outside all at the same time. You can get one on the switch track, get it back off again. Would that look theme park-esque? You have them, don't you? You do have them all, all the way around the outside of the theme park. I'm literally swallowing my own throat now for no reason whatsoever. So that is a sign of me to basically shut up and get on with it. Right, so we are going to try and go a couple high. Now the nice thing is with these bits of, they're basically glass window, is I am hoping that I can actually use this for the Star Wars section as well. Now I am hoping, yeah, that's just a bit of a risk. So they're heavy. They are heavy, so if I drop them, I'm afraid it will win. So what I want to do is just get one of the most beautiful sets that I've built in a long, long time. A little bit further forward so it's safe. And then see. There we go, that's much better. Now I am hoping that they will stack on each other. They should do, because that's how they've been stored. So, do we do it like that, where we have it dropping? There's a big drop, mind. It's basically going to be vertical. I don't really think, I didn't think it was going to be that steep, but they are tall. Because that would be up there. There we go, because they literally like almost slide into each other, sort of. There we go, I'll just leave it like that for now. I think that's not going to work at all. Because then if I did a 2 and a 1, because they should fit in there, you are literally going to be vertical. And I think the train would actually hit the roof. I'll continue, but I can already tell that, even though in theory might have been a half decent idea, really is not. Really is not at all. Yeah, because it'll be 2. You can see what I'm doing, yeah. So you can see it stepping now, and then it just goes on to, 1. We love doing stupid things, so hence why it's called a disaster series in this theme park area. But it does fit didn't actually measure that. I eyeballed it, and it, from the blue, it does go down. But would it look effective? That's what I'm trying to get at. Does it look effective stepped? You are literally going to be vertical. I don't know how I can take the gradient off that. That's might be a little bit ambitious. Let's use you. The block of cheese might come in handy now. Will you stay on the block of cheese? Oh, come on. No, block of cheese is too shiny. I can't risk that, because if you fall off, you're going to smash it. The problem is with these roofs, they're all slanted, so I can't actually put you on. I can't put you on anything. And if I put you too far back, what about that? What about the fire roof? Will you stay and be good? Sort of. Right, perfect. What does this want to do? It's literally suicidal, but would it fit? It looks outrageous. Pretty stupid idea, to be honest. And if we did go full loop track all the way around the outside, so it was working, obviously that wouldn't work. I like it, but there isn't enough space at the top for the train. I think it's long enough, but yeah. So let us know, because that's how easy it is for me to put in and out. So it's not exactly a problem. I could obviously just go too high, so it's just higher than that, so it just looks like it's off. It just looks like it's off exploring. So it could go there, but just take the top one down, put it into the bottom, and then go across the top, so it's straight. Let's go for that option. Let's have a quick look at that one, and then you guys and girls can basically let me know, do you prefer option 1, option 2, or option number 3? But the problem, I know what I'm like. I know what's going to happen. If I go double deep, that's it then. I'm going to be like, right, well, it looks nice there. Why can't we do it everywhere else around the actual place? So again, the problem that we're going to have there, look, is you're going to hit the ceiling. So the second the track goes on, you're at the top and you do not have a chance. So no is the answer to that. So the other option we have is we now try double deep. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to try and put it together, I guess, because I don't want to disturb the track that's already there, really, because of well, it's a bit of a nightmare. But I wonder if I can just push, if I could lift this up, push the whole thing back like that. Does that give us enough room for these pieces? Because how many do we need? Ooh. We're off by a couple of studs on that, so I don't know if I can. I could bring these forward for now, that's not a problem. It's only a test, isn't it? Because I think we can bring them. We can bring the others. We can bring it further back, but rather than just messing around and wasting everybody's time for something that I have absolutely no idea if it's a good idea or not. So that now. We got 4 lengths. 4 lengths there. Yeah, it would. It would fit. Let me just clip some of that together so it doesn't end up smashing actual Winter Village stuff. But you can obviously clip it together quite a lot, and obviously clearly it's not in the middle like it was. It needs to go further back that way. But like I said, it is at a place I can't really reach, so it would be a full rip out, get it on here correctly, and then put it back on like it was. So that's where it needs to be, like that, because that way I can actually push it down much better. And then that's not going to come away, so this could obviously go much further forward, and then the other train could be beside it, but I think it's longer than four lengths. But that would be the idea in a bracket further down over different bits and pieces, and then with the remote control we could potentially link it up. So I don't really think the corners are going to be a problem. It's going to be the length. It's going to be the straights. You're going to need a lot of straights. Now, like I said, we have, I think, got a bit of switch track as well. So we could take the top 3 off, keep the bottom 3 on, and potentially come off and back on, but I don't know. I really don't know without finding the actual thing. I need to put you there. You're going to go on the roller coaster. You're going to go on the red one for a change and have a different backdrop. You can have a look at the massive fan and keep thinking about, does it work in the Jurassic Park area or not. Not in that box. And that box is going to be recycled. Put it in. No. That's annoying. Is it fallen out the box? Have you fallen out the box? Right, you have fallen out the box. I can see where it is. So let me reach it. Let me have a bit of a fight and see if I can actually grab it, because there's no way it's on this table, is it? No, because I put all the spare bits of track on here from other stuff, and the switch track's really, really big. So I think what it's done, which is sod's law, it slipped out the box and fallen behind another box. So I'm now going to have to search for that one, and then I'll keep you up to date. Well, that was embarrassing. What I thought it was wasn't. I've just spent a huge amount of time trying to hunt it down, turn around, and there's the 4th box, and it's in there. So there's some more curves in there, and that is the switch track. Now, obviously, there's a huge problem, because if it was to go that way, it's switching the wrong way. So it would have to go against the blue wall, but I think it's curving the wrong way round. So it's not really gonna, it's not gonna meet, but it would work. It would work nicely there, for example, or some, you know what I mean, with regards to the switch. And at least we can now visually see just how wide the track would be. What I would like just to try with you guys and girls now is, where can I put you? We'll go on to our dumping table at the moment, and we'll get you there, because clearly that's going to be much more tricky, and I'm going to have to move all the bits and pieces, which I'm not going to do just now. But if that went there, and then the next curve went in, look how far away it is. So me saying I'd clip it together, well, I couldn't clip it together, so the bracket would have to be a lot bigger. Because what I would have to do is, it would be like that. And I'm talking now full full expansion with a bracket all the way around, so it would be that far up. Now in certain areas I can't do that, like where the coaster is, because obviously it touches, and there is other areas that I don't think I can go 2 on. I could do a switch track behind the Star Wars, that wouldn't be a problem, where they could change over, not a bother. It is just food for thought. Like I said, I'm always stupid when it comes to this thing, but I have said for about 1.5 years that it would be quite nice to add in a full-blown track in there with trains, but trains that make sense within the theme park. Now we could easily area them up, because this could have the new Marvel train that's been announced. That could just go up at the top, and then it still gives that illusion of basically a ride within a ride going around the outside, and you get from basically one land to another. I could put a little stop, I don't know, there, and I could put another stop behind the loop if you're just too lazy to walk through the gates, or just something a little bit different. So this could just be a ride within itself. I did come up with an idea a long time ago. I can't remember what theme it was for. It was like a vertical launch coaster. It was basically that, vertically that, like that, and then it just went down into a straight and it just came back up again. I think it was a Superman launch. I think that was in the Marvel DC bit, but now we've got all the rides in there. That doesn't need to be done. So yes, food for thought. Definitely doesn't. Visually, it looks quite nice with this stupidly steep angle. Now, of course, I could go 2 to 1 and just take those 2 away, and you could just have it there. But then, obviously, you can't then bring it back on itself. So, for the illusion of it sort of tunneling away and exploring, I thought it would have looked quite smart. But I don't really think that's going to be the answer to that. The only way I think we could get 2 trains all the way around is if we didn't have it on a switch and we just went double deep instead, because that is pretty much, well, that's 3 tracks wide. So you're 3 in places. So if you were if you were 3 in places, and you had a train coming all the way off, and then it reattached, you can't connect the... could you have... you couldn't connect it back on itself, could you? Because it'd be a continuous bit. That's a shame, because it'd be quite nice to use the switch track and then reverse it down to the middle bit where they're stored. I might just have to pick it up and then move it off, because I'm assuming, because they're hand controls, that they will work on track that's not connected, because it just goes by battery. Whereas this one, it needed to be a full thing, I think, because it was the old school yellow handle. Now I might be wrong, but they don't do that style of train anymore. They do the battery packs, don't they, with this remote. And I think this remote is the same as what they've done in the past, again from the Arctic Explorer. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research into it. So basically, this has probably been a swing and a miss. I've tried. It's just a good to try and get some bits and pieces spaced out. I just don't know. I don't want to ruin basically any of this for this year, and then maybe next year we do drop the track down and do bits and pieces, but I can actually design the track in December when all the Winter Village stuff comes out and goes down on display elsewhere. So I think that is it, and I am done. Let me know what you think of a huge track all the way around the outside, or is that just stupid? Do you like a double depth attempt? Because we could potentially wrap it around double deep all the way around. and I could just support it from the bottom, because it is literally just I could just mirror that and it could clip all the way. And then we have the Christmas train a little bit closer, and the other one basically would be to where the curve starts. So it would look like they're both side by side. I think that's probably going to be the best thing to do. But I'd have to obviously add supports in underneath the track, because well, the train would just be floating, and that wouldn't be very good. But let us know in that comment section below what you think. But if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. There is a lot to come. Like I said, I'm very, very much looking forward to getting this nailed. I think the next thing that's going to follow this is to start to get this area tidy for the template again of the Mario with the correct color base plates and all of that kind of stuff, which means I actually need all of these little 16 by 16s, and I need these because these have to get put down onto our Marvel DC superhero section, because I need all of that tiled and done. So basically my fingernails are going to be hurting by the end of the next upload. So again, one more time, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one.